Go.
Okay. Hi guys.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me today for this lesson. What we're going to look at is Vocabulary 1. This is the first of 4 vocabulary sections in the TESOL vocab section. And if you just take a look here, what we're basically going to be talking about is different approaches to vocabulary. So textbooks often make choices for us, but there are a number of ways of grouping words together so that learners can basically acquire the language faster. And that's the purpose behind all of these. We're going to look at chunking, word class, word families, lexical sets and fields, talk a little bit about how to explain meaning and some different ways to go about that. And then we'll talk a little bit about your experiences and things that would apply or things that you didn't really think about before. So before we get started, we're going to have a little bit of a competition. So you guys are together, and you guys are together. Make sure you know everybody's names at your table. In each of these clips is a bunch of words. You guys are going to race to put them together into a sentence. When you think that you have all the words in the correct order, all the words go together, you can just raise your hand. I'll take a look. And if you are correct, we'll get you to put that sentence up on the board. So there you go.
Oh my god, I can see that. Odds and ends.
Subject.
I'll give you a hint. The first word is I.
Thank you. Odds and ups. Or maybe and fixing. Second hand record. Oh, I thought I fixed that.
Players?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, to make them look new? Or something. Like new? To make them to look?
The last word is new. That's not correct.
Fixing up.
That like is not a verb.
For second odds and ends.
Can you look second hand?
I like looking for odds and ends.
Sorry.
Like second-hand record players.
And fix.
Yeah.
And to look like new.
Can odds and ends be second hand?
Look new. Odds and
Okay, we have some winners over here.
We beat Shauna!
Okay, can you please read us the sentence?
I like looking for odds and ends, like second-hand record players, and fixing them up to look like new.
Okay, can you guys organize your sentence? You did? Oh, that was fast. No instructions. Sorry. Okay, so I'll put this up on the board. While you're doing the next task, I'll put it up here. What I'd like you to do is to decide at your table how many words are in this sentence. How many words are in this sentence? Just guess.
Give up yes, like I don't know, different like it's the same word, you know what I mean? Yeah. All of them?
Count them as two.
Yeah.
So there's 20 actual physical words,
Yeah.
but class
Example.
Well, you need the pronoun in between. You can separate it.
So we would consider that one word in the first word.
It is, but it's
like
be moved
now,
here.
yeah,
No, I
nowadays.
realize that.
So I think it's 1 unit.
Yeah.
We could, yeah.
Yes,
Do
okay,
that.
yeah.
We don't need to switch down.
Around.
Correct, yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out.
These are all different.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So we might consider that as one.
Yes. And there's a
I can hear lots of discussion. How many people think the answer is 20? 21? Okay, no. How many individual pieces of paper are there?
20.
Okay, so there are 20 pieces of paper, but are there just 20 words here? Are there less? Is there a definitive answer to this question?
No.
Not really. How did you guys determine the order of your sentence? What were you looking for?
Pieces of language.
Pieces of language, right? Words that go together. And ultimately, that's what we call language in chunks. And students need to be able to do this really quickly if they're going to achieve fluency when any of the skills, if they're speaking or writing or reading or listening. And so all of the things that we're looking at today are related to this idea of chunking, and we'll see lots of examples in the book. So one of the ways that we can organize vocabulary to facilitate language acquisition is by word class. Can anybody tell me what word class is?
Julie, you look like you're going to say something.
Two categories.
I know, I was thinking word family is
I'll give you a hint. It's on the board.
really. Content and function.
Okay. Content and function. What does that mean?
The words that have meaning and the words that are used to connect the words that have meaning.
Perhaps used to create the sentence or not.
Like by themselves,
Grammar. Right. So very generally, we can say content words are open or closed. Will there be more and more words added to the content class? Yes, right? English is one of the languages that evolves very quickly, and we bring all kinds of words together, and there are new additions every year. Function words, open or closed? Closed, right? We're probably not going to invent a preposition anytime soon, but you never know. So take a minute and with the words on your table, organize them into content and function. Some of the words are repeated, for example, the word like, and it might appear in both categories because it has two different roles. Go ahead.
Yes, this.
Yeah.
So also on this one. Like this is for
Although,
there's an M here.
Okay,
That's
good.
good.
Okay.
And then that's fixing up. So I would look at like with the first
Well,
I
think because this has a meaning, but the meaning changes the more
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
connect it,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So it's still going to be in meaning.
Okay, this is not a test. You can separate the chunks, and I'll show you a little bit why. In this sentence here, what can we identify as some of the grammar words?
I, them, am,
For.
Them.
and.
Not
Okay, if you want to call this, but is it as a, it is,
Yes, it is.
right? It is a function word.
True.
What about this? And.
Like.
To. In this case, fix up is a phrasal verb. Look at this. So if I read the sentence without the green, I just say, like looking, odds and secondhand record players fix up like new, look new. Do you understand the gist of the sentence?
Yes.
Right. So if we delete the function words, we can still get the meaning, even though you can argue odds and ends go together. What do we call this?
The collocation.
It's a collocation. This is a specific type. This called the binomial expression because we can't switch the order. So it sounds funny if we say ends and odds, right? But generally collocations, what other things go together in a sentence? Second hand, what's this?
Compound.
Compound. And you can see the evolution of the compounds in the way we use hyphens, right? Things like bookshelf. It was originally book and shelf, and then it became hyphenated bookshelf, and now it's one word because it's so familiar that it's become its own now. Record player. Okay. So there are many different ways that we can classify the words, and all of the things, as I said, that we're going to go through are aimed at helping the students make decisions about what words are important. For example, if you're reading, and you see your students reading the sentence, I like looking for, we can teach them to scan properly and to look for those content words and to ignore the function words. Okay, can I erase this? You can put all those words together, please. Okay, how many words can you think of, and you can take notes with the people beside you, that have the root create in them? Can someone give me an example of another one?
Creative.
Okay, as many words as you can think of with the root create. Try it.
I mean, there's all of the verbs in the past.
Create.
Okay, let's put all of our brains together. Between the two tables, I think you guys have got quite a lot. What do we have?
Creation. Creativity. Uncreative. Creature.
Let's put it here and come back to it.
Created.
Created, creates,
Creatively. Creativeness. Or you put ly.
okay. Recreate.
Recreational.
Recreational. Okay, but let's add that one here. Okay, if you're not sure if the word belongs here, we go back to the root. So, what does this mean? It's another way to say this. Create. Make, right? So, what does recreate mean? Think again. Created,
You did it already.
made, creating,
Right now.
keep. Yeah, sure. Okay, creativity, ability, maybe. Sure. Okay. What about creature?
Something that feels cool. Somehow. Depends if you're talking about.
But does this belong? Does the root inform the change in meaning? So this doesn't belong, although students, when they're learning word families, will be caught up by the spelling because it looks like it belongs here. And what about this one? Recreational. What does it mean? Oh, it doesn't belong. Okay. So what do we call the parts that we added on the end of the root? And what do we call the parts that we added at the beginning? So here, here. anyone know the word to describe these together? Affixes. So affixes are another thing that we can teach the students if they know the root of the word, learning all these other forms has really high impact for them, but it's really low burden. So this is another thing that we want to explicitly teach, are prefixes and suffixes, and how that can help them navigate building their vocabulary without having to learn the meaning. Now there are two ways that affixes change the root. Again, they're similar to word class. Some of these are called derivatives, and some of them are called inflections. Can anyone tell me the difference? Are there any of these words here in this word family that haven't really changed the meaning of the root?
All the ones that aren't crossed-out in green.
That's true. Well, the ones that are crossed out, they don't even have the same meaning as the root. These all have the same meaning. They're connected to the meaning of the root. But what about this?
It's a derivative.
Does it change the meaning, or does it? What about this one? Are any of these purely grammatical changes?
Yes.
Which ones? Okay, so these are inflections. Derivatives move the meaning slightly away from the same meaning as the root. Okay, so creator is now about a person, not making something. Creativeness is an ability or a skill, same with creativity. Creation is the act of making something. Creatively is how you do it. But creating means you're doing this in a different tense. Created is you're doing it in a different tense. So you can think about the difference between inflections and derivatives really simply by one is a grammatical change and the other is changes the meaning.
Slightly. Or
Slightly.
okay.
Yeah, they're still connected because they all have the same root. So you can think of inflection, right, like an accent. Slightly accents the word. Derivatives means it derives from, so it's a little bit further away in terms of meaning. Can I erase this?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How do you handle like students going through and making a list of words, but then like adding a suffix that might not be part of the list, like an al suffix?
There are rules related to spelling, like R and P and L. You can look up the list for the typical patterns. Native speakers add the wrong suffixes all the time, right? I don't know how we ended up with creativeness, creatable. I mean,
Yeah, creatable. Would you tell a student that that is correct or incorrect?
well, it depends if you want to be prescriptive or descriptive, right? Like if they're getting their meaning across, if you're really focused on suffixes and that's the point of the lesson, then you might say, well, you can hear native speakers make these types of mistakes, but creatable or whatever it is might not be the right one. Does that answer your question yet? Moving this way? Thanks, Ron. Okay, what we're going to do is create our own word families, but I'm going to ask Kate and Julie to switch.
Oh, yeah, that's a 3. That's 3.
Okay. Because we're in small enough groups, you can do this directly up on the board and then you're going to teach it to each other. I'd like you to, 1, create a word family, 2, identify the prefixes and suffixes, and 3, identify the inflections and derivatives. Okay? Number 1,
Create a word family.
2,
Prefixes and suffixes.
identify the prefixes and suffixes, 3,
Derivative and inflection.
Go instruction.
up you go.
Shortest person on the same team.
So You do the short
I'll do
side?
the bottom,
On the bottom,
yeah.
and I'll do the top.
And when you're ready.
I'm putting the.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, it doesn't mean that.
The other one?
So he probably doesn't really hear you.
Uh,